wholehearted experience. And so we'll be looking at wholeheartedness and union. And I'm going to bring in the science of mind alignment with how our mind works with the law to create form and how we can do that anew. And then I'll introduce you to a couple of practices. So A Course of Love, that companion work to A Course in Miracles, invites us to let go of the head striving, that place where we're constantly trying to wrestle with our thoughts, and drop into our heart that has the power to cut through any idea, any thought, any cycle of thinking that you might find yourself stuck in. It is the alchemist of spirit. And so the Course in Love invites us to allow our head and our heart to begin acting as one. And we're not trying to fix things. I love the metaphor. I remember when I was early in my studies with this particular philosophy, and I was learning about oneness and how our thoughts create things and how we can get lost in our thoughts. The image came to me that when I am trying to fix things at the level of form, it's like standing in front of the mirror in the bathroom and trying to brush my hair in the mirror. Yeah, but we are drenched in this world of form and condition, and so it's organic to want to brush your hair in the mirror, so to speak, to want to fix things out there. And sure, there's a lot of things that need to be lifted up, a lot of things that need to be moved and transformed, but everything starts right where you're at. You are the center of change. You are the center of the universe. The universe centers itself in each one of us. And so as we're looking at this idea of soaring in love, sometimes we have to start where we're at. We have to start with whatever is in front of us that might be leading us to an opportunity. I'll put it that way, an opportunity. Sometimes have you heard of AFGOS? AFGOS, it's an acronym. Another freaking growth opportunity. Yeah. And you can use whatever F word you want with that. Depends on the intensity of your AFGO. So we're in this course of love. It's not about fixing anything out there. It's not about even fixing our thoughts. It's about allowing our heart to be the transmitter of spirit, so that whatever it is that is ready to be more present with spirit aligns itself with your mind. So it's a little bit of a deeper practice than just change your thinking, change your life. It's open your heart and then watch how your thinking changes, and then watch how it flows out into your life. We're talking about this and the science of mind absolutely sources us when we are looking at this opportunity to be more in love with life and ourselves and the world. The Course in Love is really reminding us that it's more about being than doing, and that being always has to precede doing, and that acceptance opens us to willingness, and then willingness opens us to presence, and then presence guides us, tells us what's next. And sometimes, and often what happens for me, it probably doesn't happen for any of you, but what often happens for me is I bypass all that and I go right from my mind to the thing that's out there, as opposed to allowing it to settle within me and move through my heart and help me to discern what is mine to do and how love wants to show up in a situation. I watched a TV series recently, and I do not recommend it. Called Disclaimer. I don't know if any of you have seen it, but it's the story about how our perceptions are often faulty. Our perceptions of what we think we see are often faulty. And the story unfolds that you think it's one thing, and it turns out to be something completely different. And unless we're curious, unless we're stopping our meaning-making mind from making stuff up and really be present with whatever's happening in the moment, we're going to make something up. And we're not going to really tap into truth, and we're not going to really tap into that place of union that we can get with one another. There's a piece that I read recently that said, we are not trying to forgive at others, but with others. So that when we're moving through a process of forgiveness, this is a relationship activity. It is not me showing up and I'm going to bestow my forgiveness. And I may know you, and you may be a public figure, and you might be everything in between. It might be an institution. But this is my opportunity to let love guide me so that I can be present with whatever is the true opportunity before me to open up, to let go. And so that's the first step of letting go. We have to let go of our first impression. We may be able to pick it up later, but we want to be clear. We really want to be clear, and so we drop into a place of surrendering from first being before doing, and knowing that we are definitely aligned with love and law, knowing that we are absolutely opening ourselves to divine guidance because it is available to each and every one of us all the time. Not just when you're sitting here hanging out with us in Centers for Spiritual Living, not when you're just doing your spiritual practice, not when you're just being all spiritual. Divine guidance is available to you, but are you available to it? That's the real question that you have to ask yourself. And so when we show up with presence, Thich Nhat Hanh in the book of the month, which I'm not grabbing right now and I should have written down, he has these 4 statements that he recommends we use as a mantra as we're moving into this process of letting go and showing up and soaring. He says when we find ourselves in those bumpy places, the first thing to recognize, and he says it's so sweet when you read it actually in the book, he says, "Darling, I am here for you." You can say that to another person, or you can imagine Spirit saying it to you. The second statement that he recommends we embrace is simply coming to a space and saying, "I know you are there and I am happy." So knowing that we are present in union either with another human being, with Spirit, all of the above. Darling, I know you are there and I'm happy. The third statement he recommends that we bring into our practice is full of compassion. I don't know if you know any of Thich Nhat Hanh's work. He's the master of compassion. And so this third statement is, "Darling, I know you are suffering." It's an opportunity for us to really be present with someone, not to fix their suffering, not to make it go away. How many of you are with somebody and they start weeping, and the first thing you want to do is give them a Kleenex, right? We want to make it all better, want to dry their tears. And I have trained myself to say, it's okay, just release. Because tears are an emotional release, however that shows up for you, because we all move through that kind of emotion in our own way. And so Thich Nhat Hanh says, just drop yourself into this place of compassion and be present with somebody's suffering. And then the last one I think is the most powerful. And it's the one we say to ourselves and to those around us. "Darling, I am suffering. Please help." darling, I am suffering. Please help. What a sweet thing to drop into that level of vulnerability, to know that you are safe with fellow flight travelers along the road, to be able to recognize when you need a little help. Not the first place I go. How about you guys? I was taught to be strong. I was taught to be independent. And life reinforced that lesson for me over and over and over again in my relationships, in my work. And so being vulnerable and being willing to ask for help takes practice. And sometimes we could just say that to ourselves, right? We could say that to whatever God you pray to. We could say that to whatever spirit works for you. Darling, I'm suffering. Please help. And let me have, as I have said that prayer, because as I started my remarks, I've been doing this work for 40 years, and I can still be dropped to my knees. When I moved here, my relationship did not survive the trip. and I remember when it was really at my lowest, I called a practitioner. And I said, I'm suffering, and I need help. And that practitioner didn't try to fix me, didn't try to pray it away. They were just there with me in my suffering. And it was just part of the process of moving through, of letting go so that I could show up. Because sometimes all that stuff just gets in the way, and it's not that we have to, I realize what I'm saying, that's a habit of mine, that all that stuff that gets in the way, but sometimes that's the stuff that cleans us out. That's the stuff that moves through us so that we can soar, so that we can begin to touch the freedom of love that wants to move through us. And so when we hit those bumps in the road, it's an opportunity for us to navigate that turbulence, to begin to look at where it is we've placed our energy and consciously and intentionally redirect our energy. And we don't do that by running away from it. I'm famous for cut and run. When I'm in pain, I just want to be out. I want the pain to stop. Who doesn't, right? Who doesn't? But if I can pause, I can be present, I can seek guidance, and then I can really show up for wherever I'm at. I can allow love to guide me through whatever it is so that I can come to a place of a deeper relationship and union with love, whether it's in a relationship with one human being or a group of human beings, a country. So in order for us to really do this work, we have to be willing to open our hearts. And I, speaking from my own experience, when I'm in a challenging situation, when I'm in the turbulence, I'm not thinking, oh, this is the time to be vulnerable and open my heart. I'm batting down the hatches. I'm looking for something to give me some comfort. I'm looking for a way out. And I'm suggesting that we look at Thich Nhat Hanh's beautiful statements of compassion, both compassion for the other and compassion for ourselves, and center ourselves for a minute with those 4 statements so that we can be present for the guidance that is not going to give us the temporary Band-Aid relief, but is going to heal us from the inside out. A lot of times the pain that we experience comes from the story, right? I told you my little story of a relationship that didn't didn't make it through the move when I moved here. And I had a lot of stories around that. And it's taken some time for me to let go of those stories. It's taken time for me to get a different perspective. And it's taken spiritual practice. And it's taken a reliance on something that's all of who I am and is so much greater than I am to bring me to a more open-hearted experience. And so I'd like to suggest that we play with our stories for just a minute. And I know this might not be easy for everyone, and so I just ask you to trust me as we do this practice of checking in with ourselves, is looking at the stories that we're carrying and looking for some, and when I use the term forgiveness, I'm really talking about release. And so if you are willing, I'd like you to close your eyes for just a second. A couple moments, actually. And take a deep cleansing breath. And set an intention with each breath that you take. The intention to be present. And then I invite you to bring a story forward. Some story that's challenging you. It could be very personal, it could be global. And then in your mind, I invite you to say these words. I release the story. Love remains. And then ask yourself, am I willing to see this differently? And here I would invite you to put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. One hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. Still remembering that story that you've brought forth. And just see if you can encapsulate it in about 5 words. Just 5 words. Not the whole big thing. Mine was, he left me. Yours will be personal to you. And then whisper to your heart and your mind, I release the story, and love remains. I release the story, and love remains. And then make the intention, I am willing to see things differently. And then I invite you to imagine for a moment that you are with the situation or the person or whatever has come up for you. And with your eyes closed or your gaze softened, use Thich Nhat Hanh's 4 statements. Start with, I'm here for you, darling. I know you are there, darling, and I am happy. Darling, I know you are suffering. And finally, darling, I am suffering. Please help. And then gently open your arms and spread your hands out wide without hurting your neighbor. And say, I choose oneness.
I choose oneness.
I am free to love.
I am free to love.
And notice the shift, however minor you may have had. Bringing that situation forward, choosing love, being very, very intimate with it. I am here. I know you are here and I'm happy. I know you are suffering. I am suffering. Please help. Being present and then being willing to be different and let love lead the way. And this is when we find freedom. And this is when we soar. When we can move through that. And you may need to do it more than once. You may need to do it more than once because it is bringing ourselves to a new frame of mind. It is bringing ourselves to an open heart. It's bringing ourselves to self-compassion and to compassion with each other. And like I did in the first week, I will be publishing those steps for you in my blog, and they'll be on our newsletter. If you want to practice them, I'm going to invite you through this week to really be willing to be present. In the morning, I'm inviting you to awaken to the acceptance of who you are. And I'm going to dare you to look in the mirror and say, I love you. I am here for you. I know you are here for me. To open your day to an acceptance of yourself and your life. To live in union. And then midday, use one of those interactions, those 4 statements of Thich Nhat Hanh. Use them in a real interaction. Find an opportunity. You don't have to use all 4. You'll know what's appropriate because you have started your day with acceptance and you have been inviting the willingness to guide you through the day. So midday, one of those sentences you can say to somebody in the grocery store line, somebody who seems really tired. You can simply say, I'm here for you. How are you? It can be really simple or it can be really meaningful indeed. It is that practice of inviting ourselves to presence, to what wants to bring us forward in the moment. And then in the evening, this might feel counterintuitive, but I'm going to invite you to bring anew, and that is to let go of the day and to step into whatever spiritual practice you do, whether it's journaling, affirmative prayer, a compassion and check-in with yourself, but to begin to really let go of the day so that you can go to sleep anew with your spiritual practice. This business about love and really diving deep with it and allowing ourselves to know that love points the way and that forgiveness makes the way clear and that law makes the way possible. This is a new way to approach love. Maybe it's not new to many of you who have been practicing this teaching for a long time, but it is an invitation to bring it forward and to renew it within yourselves as we move through this week. Thank you very much. And as usual, I'm really running over, so I'll do a very brief affirmative prayer. God is love. God is joy. God is beauty. I am. I am love. I am joy. I am beauty. And knowing this truth about spirit, knowing this truth about life, bringing that awareness deeper into my soul, I know I'm free. I am free in the sunlight of the Spirit as I move through this week, as I'm willing to be vulnerable and intimate and real. I feel the presence of God everywhere I look, everywhere I step, everywhere I am. And so it is.